Okay, so here we are looking at my actual budget. This is the full year breakdown. I have blocked out the individual income for Caleb and I because there is a confidentiality agreement for my work. So if I show you his, then you'll be able to do the math. But I will show you our totals here. I also have all of our monthly expenses, or I'm sorry, all of our fixed expenses here. Our secondary flexible expenses here, which include groceries, dog food, the gas for the car, medical. This is actually Caleb gets um, contacts shipped to our house every 6 months. So that's what this is, but it would come from a sinking fund, which you will see up here. That is actually that $125 for the contacts, and it's also $340 here for the car insurance. Both of that is coming from sinking funds because we've saved for it previously. Let's see here. Also, our bonus fun categories are here. So that's any gifts we plan on giving. Obviously, you can see that's not every month, but May is a really big month for us. We have a lot of birthdays for family and friends in May. That's also our eating out and entertainment budget, our personal spending. Some months we get $100. Some months we get $50, just depending on our spending in other categories. Vacation spending, we will be going on vacation in May. And so I will give myself a budget for that, or I have given myself a budget for that because I have a savings goal for that. However, I don't know what specifically we will be spending. So that's totally fine because it would be coming from a sinking fund anyway. So I just didn't put anything in there. Beauty and hair. This is usually just like a pedicure and a fill on my nails once a month. In February, I do have a hair appointment, so that's going to be a little bit more expensive. So that's why that's in there, but it would also be coming from the sinking fund that I've been saving for. And then we have a miscellaneous, always have a miscellaneous category. As perfect as we try to be, and I'm certainly not perfect. I overspend on things all the time. I don't want you guys to get the idea that I am perfect. But I do make an effort every month, and there are things that are priority to me, like obviously our fixed expenses, debt, and savings are huge priorities to me. But what was I saying? Oh, a miscellaneous category. Always have a miscellaneous category because there's always going to be something you forget. And by forget, I don't mean a bill or something that you forget. I just mean something like you had to run out to the store. There was a little emergency. You had to grab this little piece for something. You forgot you needed, this something this month and it was $50. Just give yourself a miscellaneous. It doesn't have to be $100. I like to keep it at about $100. Sometimes I use $10 of it. Sometimes I use $100 of it. So, but just give yourself a little buffer there. These are our debt categories. So I am going to do a whole separate video on our 5-year goals and how we plan to get there. But I did want to pay off, my goal was to pay off $10,000 of debt next year. So you can see here in this category that if all goes as planned, we will pay off $10,400 next year. These are all of our savings goals. These two debts are blacked out. They're just categories that are a little, I don't know, I'm a little more personal. I just don't want to talk about them quite yet. But these here are, you can see the payments that we're making on them. These are all of our sinking funds. And as you can see, we have quite a lot. It's okay if you only have a couple right now. In fact, it's probably better that you have a small amount. As you go, you'll realize small things that you want to prepare for over the course of the year, and you'll want to dedicate money specifically to that category. So, for instance, like our dog care or vision and health, this is where Caleb's contacts come out. Also other things that pop up, as you can see here. Over the course of the year, we'll save about $1,000 for that. And his contacts are like a total of like $250 for the year. So that's not the only thing we save for. There are sometimes medical expenses that come up. If you don't have like a health savings account or anything like that, you might want to break up your deductible over the course of the year. That's something that you can do, but we also want to save for future things like, dental procedures are usually a little bit more expensive, things like that. We have house updates. We're doing a lot of house updates. We have this year, and then we'll be doing some next year, and then kind of pulling back on that as we'll be focusing on this farmhouse down payment, where we have a goal of saving about $100,000 for that. Beauty and hair, gifts and birthdays, back to school. Now for us, back to school means that both Caleb and myself have been toying around with the idea of going back to school. We have a lot of student loans, between the two of us. So I will not be taking out any more debt, but it's also not something that we're doing in the near future, but I want to start that. So over the course of next year, we'll put $650 away. That's not a big amount of money, but and then we also have vacation. So we are focusing heavily on vacation next year, because we actually have 2 vacations, one of them in May, which is going towards the beach, which we'll have mostly funded by February, March. And then the other bigger amounts here are because in September, October area, we are going to Colorado and Utah for about 10 to 14 days. We haven't 100% decided, so that's going to be kind of spendy. So in 2022, a lot of these things will be pulled back a lot because we'll be focusing heavily on car insurance and stuff, on the farmhouse and stuff. But anyway, let's take this over to our monthly look. Okay, so as you can see, I have continued to block this out, but you can see that we expect to bring in about $5,600 for the month. Now, this is this is an example of budgeting for what you know is going to come in. So Caleb, this time of year tends to make more with overtime and that sort of thing. However, I don't account for that money. I account for basically a base pay that he would bring in if he works full time. And then the extra is great. I put that into savings or towards debt or whatever else. But I don't account for that money until it's actually hit the bank because I don't know what it's going to be. So, this will likely be much higher, but I'm not going to count on that money until it gets here. These are our fixed expenses. So we don't have rent. It's just mortgage, but that's $940 a month. Our water bill, our electric, we pay electric, gas for the house, and also water. Yeah, these 3 are our utilities. Car insurance, there's nothing there because we pay that every 6 months, and that won't be due again until January, which we'll have a savings for. Our internet, this says internet/cable, but we actually only have internet. We don't have cable anymore. We do have Netflix, but we have Netflix. I think that's the only thing we pay for. Yeah. Caleb's phone and my phone. So his is his phone and also payments on his Apple Watch. And mine is my phone, payments still on my phone, and also payments still on my iPads, and then also the service. So that's why mine is so high, but that will be going down shortly. We do have pet insurance. Our dogs are getting older. They're about 6 and 7.5, 8. The older one is a rescue, so we're not 100% how old he is, but we thought that pet insurance is a good investment, so we pay that. Our sewer bill is due this month, in November. However, we do not, that is something that's paid quarterly. So once we get to December, when I do that in a couple of weeks, you won't see that there. We have a gym payment, which is due on the 10th. And let's see, and then just a few subscriptions. So Dropbox I use, Adobe I use, Amazon Prime, and the few other channels that we have added to that, which is, I believe, HBO, Showtime, and I think that's it. Apple is all of our like app subscriptions and stuff like that. But these are things that I would take a look at if you are someone who, once you do this breakdown, you realize you're stretching a little thin. Some of these things are things that I would absolutely cut down on if we needed to. Like, we don't need all the Amazon channels. We don't need all the subscriptions we have through Apple. So those things I would cut if needed to be, or if needed for sure. We also pay for Netflix. Groceries, we have a $400 a month budget. It is just the two of us. So this has actually gone down. When we first started, it was more like $500, which is a lot for two people, but we were coming from being a couple who would spend $700 or $800 on groceries and waste a bunch of money going out. So we took some baby steps, but we will be going down to $400. My ultimate goal for just the two of us would be like $300. But I still give myself some wiggle room because we do go to like Sam's Club and stuff like that. Dog food, this is also like treats and stuff like that, $50. The gas for the car, $85. Right now, this is really high. But in November, it will be, because we fill the tank like once a month maybe. But November will be Thanksgiving and stuff, so I assume we'll be using more gas. Health and medical, I don't have any planned budget for that. And then our older dog, or the big dog or whatever, he will be getting groomed, and that's about $80. Let's go down here. This is our bonus fund. So these are the things that are like bonus spending on top of everything else, and also the first things that we would cut if we would need to. So gifts and holidays in November, we have a friend's birthday. And then we also have Thanksgiving, obviously, here in America. So we would take the time to if we needed to bring something or something like that, which we likely will, it would come out of this budget. So that gifts and holiday is going to likely come out of the sinking funds, but it might not. Just depends on if I need to pull from that. Eating out and entertainment, $150. That's pretty standard. Usually it's between $100 and $150, depending on what else is going on that month. We each get $100 to spend on whatever. This is kind of like a no questions asked. Right now, we don't roll it over. In 2021, I'm thinking that if we don't use the money, then we'll do it as kind of like a sinking fund and roll the money over so that we can save it for larger purposes, because that has caught us off track sometimes. Let me know if that's something that you guys do. Beauty and hair, this is for my nail fill and pedicure that I get once a month. And then there is that miscellaneous for $100. Here is our debt. Here's the big, scary number that we have. Our debt is about $162,000. About 130 of that is student loans. This is what happens when you defer and defer and defer and defer and defer your student loans, that interest will eat you up. The amount that we actually took out for school was about half of this. So if you don't make payments and you just keep deferring it, the amount goes up. Now, we are both on income-based payments, and everything is deferred right now because of COVID, but I want to take advantage of making what payments we can, while there is zero interest, and kind of getting rid of what we can. I'll go into more about student loans in another video because this one's already getting really long. So these aren't payments that we have to make, but we're going to make them to try to make a dent in those. And then this is a debt that was a very old credit card of mine. I have one payment left for November, and then it will be gone, thank God. I have been paying on it for the past like 10 months, but that will be gone. This one you'll see here, it does have a balance. This old DirecTV that was in my name, I think it was in our first apartment or something like that. It is on my credit report right now, but I am just going to get rid of it in February when we hopefully get taxes back. But if we don't get taxes back for whatever reason, who knows what's going to happen in the country, I will go ahead and take care of it out of our working funds at that point. But I just wanted to focus on this other one until then. And then these last two are other debts that we have that we're just not really paying on right now. We'll make some payments next year, but that's it for that. Okay, sorry if the light changed a little bit. It's getting a little bit darker here now, so I had to turn the overhead light on, which I don't love, but that's okay. Doing what we got to do right now. So if we scroll down past our debt, which we just covered, here are our savings accounts. We don't have a separate savings account for each one of these. We have one savings account. In 2021, we will be moving our emergency fund over to what will be a higher interest savings account, but right now with Corona, all interest is really, really low, so it doesn't really matter immediately, but over the coming years, that emergency fund will be much, much larger. We're looking to do about 3 to 6 months worth of emergency funds. So we want to make sure that as that interest goes back up and the economy kind of comes back, hopefully, fingers crossed, we want to earn more on that. So this is our goals for November. As you can see, we will start the month with $9,596. Now, in my previous video, I did say that we have saved a total of $18,000. That is true. However, because these are funds that we can pull from, we have used some of that money for things. So as I said, we had a water heater that we just had to fix. So that was $1,000. We've gone on vacations. We have spent some of our Christmas money already. We've been doing house updates. But all of that money was originally in savings and saved for the use that it was used from or used for. But it is obviously no longer in there now. So this month we have a goal of saving $400 to go back towards emergency fund. As I said, this was a little bit higher at the beginning of the month, but we had to replace our water heater. So that's where much of that money went. This is a baby category for some procedures that we will possibly be doing next year. We'll see. New car, we have $4,000 currently saved. This is also for our 6-month car insurance. So we do pull from here for that, but we are looking to get a second car in the coming months. And I would like to pay for at least half of that in cash. We don't plan on getting anything new, probably somewhere between, 2000. We currently have a 2002. So anything like 2012 or newer, I would be thrilled with. I'm just not interested in getting a brand new car anyways. Christmas, like I said, we have $500 now. I'm going to put another $100 in there. We have already spent like $300. I've already started shopping for that. So, but I will have roughly like $1,000, including the money that we have already spent. Vision and health, dog care, those both get $50 a month. That usually doesn't change unless we have a big increase of funds coming in. I might throw an extra $50 or so in there. 10-year anniversary trip. Our 10-year wedding anniversary will be in 2022. Depending on some life situations, we would like to go on a trip for that. But I'm not going to start saving for that until next year. So that's why it's red right now, just to let me know. Don't worry about it. House updates, we'll put an additional $500 in that. Our next update, we have a little bit of work here and there to do. Things that won't cost a ton of money, but our next big thing will be replacing our floors. So that's going to be a hefty price. So we're starting to build that up for that. This is a blacked out section. It's for something specific that if somebody were to watch this video, then it would ruin something. But we have $700 set aside for that. Beauty and hair, I throw about $50 in here. Once this gets up, probably at the end of the year, I'll start throwing like much less, maybe like half of that, maybe like $25 a month. And then gifts and birthdays, we do $50. Currently we have $75. I just had my mom's birthday, so I pulled some money out for that. Back to school, again, we talked about this already. We throw $50 in there a month. This is another section that's $150. That again is something that if somebody were to see, it's for something specific. So I'm blocking that out, but that's another category. And then vacation, we currently have $854, and we'll be saving another $150 for a vacation coming up in May. I will likely want to have about $1,000 to $1,200 for including all spending. That includes our gas and anything else, food, activities, anything else for the week for the two of us. And then the additional that we will save on top of that will go towards the actual house cost. So as you can see, this is a zero-based budget here. So there is every dollar has a job, it has a name. Like I said, likely Caleb will bring in extra money. So anything additional when these actual numbers come in, if it is over this $5,600, we will likely put that towards, we usually split it between debt and savings somewhere. So what I would do now that I've brought all of that in here and I know what I'm budgeting for, I will break this up for our weeklies. Caleb gets paid every week and I get paid bi-weekly. So I'm going to go ahead and break that up and then I will show you what that looks like. Okay, and I'm done. So I've gone ahead and organized everything I have over here by my paychecks. So as soon as our paychecks hit on that day, I can come here and say, what's my plan? Go and take care of all of these that aren't automatically coming out. Most of that automatically comes out, but if it wasn't going to, I would go take care of it. I would make my debt payments if any of those weren't, or extra debt payments on top of what is automatically coming out. And then I would go ahead and transfer anything that was for savings. So as you can see here, we would go ahead and transfer these amounts to savings. It also breaks down the totals by sections that you're spending. And then throughout the week, if there was any flexible spending or bonus spending that I had, I would go ahead and put it over here on my transaction tabs so I could keep track of what I spent during the month. So yeah, that is what my actual budget looks like. Those are our goals for November. Hopefully, we're saving another $1,800. We are paying off almost $550 in debt. It'll probably be more than that with any added income that comes in. And of course, we will be staying on top of all of our regular bills as well. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know if you want me to come back before the end of November. I have some other videos coming before that, but I mean, as far as the budget, if you wanted maybe like a mid-November check-in so you could see how the spending was going and how I'm keeping track of all of that, let me know. If you budget a different way, share that down below. I would love to hear more about it. If you want to see more videos from me, make sure to subscribe and like this video. It's super helpful to get people to see it so that I can help more people and answer more questions. And anything else you want to leave down below. I also have the link to this budget down below in the description box in case you want to grab it. It's just a few bucks. So hopefully it can help you work towards your own financial freedom. Thanks for sticking in there, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.